In the past, properly defining HTML documents has meant a dizzying array of doc-type declarations and convoluted meta tags. You had to keep track of which flavor of HTML or XHTML you were using and even declare how the page should be served. Thankfully, HTML5 simplifies all this with one easy-to-remember doc-type declaration and a lot of reduced overhead of declarations. So I want to start our Trails project by properly defining a bare-bones HTML file. To do that, I've opened up the trails.html file from the 02_02 folder. And you might open this up and be like, wow, something's wrong with this file. It's totally empty. We're going to start an HTML document from scratch. So the first thing that you need in any HTML document is a doc type declaration. So this is incredibly easy to do in HTML5. I'm just going to do angle bracket, exclamation point, doc type. And then after that, type in a space. And all we have to do is declare that this is indeed an HTML document. Close your angle bracket, and that's it. Now, since HTML5 is considered a living standard, we don't need a version number like we did in previous versions. We also really don't need a document type declaration URL, which is great because I don't have to remember all of that. All you've got to do is declare the document as an HTML file, and that's it. Now, if you want to be truthful, if you want to really go into it, you don't even really need a doc type declaration. But for backwards compatibility, it helps keep older browsers from triggering what we call quirks mode. So it's a good idea to have one in every HTML file you create. Now, the next thing I need to do to have an HTML document, I need an HTML tag. So I'm going to go ahead and create one of those. And inside my opening HTML tag, I'm going to declare the language that I'm using. And in this case, all we have to do is do the language attribute. And since I'm authoring in English, I'm going to type in EN for English. Now, this is an optional attribute, but it's a really good idea so that any user agent is going to know what the native language is that you're authoring the document in. So it's always a good idea to include this. Now, after the HTML tag, I'm going to add a head to my document. Need one of those in every HTML document. And then past the head, I'm going to add a body. Once again, this is really simple HTML structure. If you've been authoring HTML documents for any amount of time at all, you already know this structure. However, in the head of the document, I'm going to go up and declare my character encoding. Now, this used to be really convoluted. It was very difficult to remember it, so most people would sort of copy and paste the meta tag that controls it. Now it's super simple. So after the head of the document, open up a new meta tag, and I'm just going to set the character set attribute to UTF-8. Right after that, all I have to do is close the right angle bracket. I don't have to self-close it. That's XHTML syntax, and we don't need to do that anymore, so that's fine. Now, typically when an HTTP header is sent, the character coding is sent along with it, but that is not always the case. So what we've just done here, it's really important to do that in the head of your HTML file. And I also recommend doing it directly after the head so that the character set encoding is done prior to loading any other content. So that's it. That is the basic structure of an HTML5 document. You can get a lot more complex if you want to, but this should be the foundation of every HTML file you create.